Hello and welcome to Ketter Farms. We're back with another episode of Creek, Nebraska, and we've moved the time forward just a bit here. We are now in late spring, and we've been cleaning up all of our vehicles here from the planting season. We're getting ready to put them into the shed here. However, we're going to need to do a little bit of an equipment shuffle here. So I've got the shed opened up, and we're going to move some stuff around here. It feels like with a farm this big and all the equipment, we're always shuffling stuff around to get it out of the way, to get at something. And so today we've got some various spraying jobs that we're going to do. And yeah, we're going to see where things go here now that we're getting into late spring, almost early summer here. So the first piece of equipment we are going to pull out of the shed, even though it wasn't really in the way, is this Patriot sprayer. I'm really excited to get this thing out in the field. We have updated it to include sprayer section control here, and so it should work out for us really well on this farm. It's got a nice 132-foot boom on it, I believe. And so we're going to put this thing right over here into the main shop real quick and come back to this in just a little bit. We are going to have to do a couple of things to get this ready to go out to the field still. So with that out of the way, we're going to pull these two pieces of tillage equipment here actually up and out of the shed so that we can put our planting equipment in here. We're not going to need to do any more planting this year, and so it makes sense to get those planters put in the shed here and out of the way. And with it being late spring now, you can see all of our crops have started popping up out of the ground here, which is super exciting. Now, I'm going to park this thing right here. I am going to get these up to the pressure washer here in just a moment and get them cleaned up. But while we have the other two vehicles in the way here, we're going to just make some room so that we can get in here. All right, so we've got both of these tractors out of the shed here. Let's go ahead and jump into this articulated row track first and see if we can pull this in here. Now, I do want to get this Demco grain cart out of here as well, because I want to put these planters over here on the wall, but we're going to hook that up to the big quad track here, I think. So I'm trying to think about order of operations to get this stuff moved around. We might need to go ahead and, unfortunately, disconnect one of these pieces of equipment just so we can get that pulled out. So let's grab this quad track here and see if we can sort that out here. Maybe we'll just need to move all of these things out of our way here first, get things sprayed off, and do it in the order in which we can disconnect equipment. I really hate to have all of these tractors going at once, especially with how much fuel the game consumes with my increased fuel consumption mod turned on. But we'll just get this done right quick here. It's like we're playing a game of Jenga or something, trying to move all the pieces in and out without knocking over the whole stack. So I think we are going to store these pieces of tillage over here in our grass equipment storage area here. I don't know what we should call this, but we had something like this on the farm where we just had a big grassy area where we tossed all of the outdoor equipment, the stuff that didn't deserve to get into the shed, or that we didn't have room, I should say. If we had the room, I'm sure we would have put everything into the shed. And so we're going to use this quad track here on the Demco auger wagon here for harvest, I think. This thing should pull that big grain cart around pretty easily. There we go, all hooked up, and we'll get this thing out of here, out of our way. I mean, we're obviously not yet ready to be worrying about what equipment we're setting up where for harvest, but I do want to get the appropriate tractors in a position where they're going to be able to be used on the appropriate pieces of equipment. And so I think the plan here is actually going to be to pull this thing right back through and park it over here nearish the back door here, so that we will be able to get this out when the time comes. There we go. And that leaves us plenty of space to put these planters in here right along this far wall. And who knows, we might end up using these 2 tractors for something else come fall as well. I don't think we've got a lot of needs for them in the current season though. And so my thought is to just see if we can back this planter right up into the corner without blocking the doorway here. I'm not sure how wide these things are in relation to each other, so bear with me just a moment here. There we go, that looks pretty good. Shouldn't be in the way or anything. And for the tractor, I do want to leave the tractors able to be used, so I'm going to pull this right up here, get it out of the way so that I can hopefully put that other planter right there in front of it along the wall, where it's not in our way at all. The trick with this obviously is, do I have enough space to pull all the way forward in order to back it into that corner? The answer is it looks like it's gonna be close. We might not get it quite as snug up against the wall as we did with the quad track. That thing has a uncanny ability to move its front and back ends around in a awkward way with farm sim mechanics, so we were able to really pull that planter over next to the wall without having to get so close ourselves. However, something like that looks like it should work pretty well. We've got both of those planters parked over there, and we're gonna go ahead and just move this planter tractor here back up in front. I think we're gonna just leave it right here along the wall for now. That way I don't have to move so much equipment if I decide I need to pull something through here. I'm liking this. The shop is a lot more cleaned up here. And let's grab this last tractor. We're gonna get it all cleaned up here and put away. All right, we've got all of our machinery put up here in the shed, and it's time to get over here and see about setting the sprayer up. So we've got a couple of things that I want to do with the sprayer. The first thing that we're going to do though, before we get spraying our herbicide, which is most of what we need to do, is we're going to load up some of this liquid fertilizer that we've got here and see about spraying our wheat field here with liquid fertilizer. So I'm going to see if I can just get close enough to this rack to fill up our sprayer with what we've got in there. And we're going to just head on out to our wheat field. Since we bought that field, we didn't plant it ourselves. There is no nitrogen in that field at all. And wheat, if I recall, actually requires a decent amount of nitrogen here. So let's get all filled up here and head out. I don't think we're going to need all of this liquid fertilizer to spray that field. However, I figured as long as we're here, we might as well just grab it all. That way when we're done, we can dump it back out and consolidate into as few containers as possible. It's always fun advancing time and seeing all of the fields having their crops popping up and growing here. I'm really excited to get out into the fields here and do some spraying. See how all the scenery has changed. All right, we're coming up here on our driveway to our field here. If I remember correctly, this is field 29, which is our wheat. And we've talked about this actually on the Autumn Oaks live stream here recently. The ground texture, or the crop texture, I should say, for crops with seasons, even though I'm in the last state of growing, is the harvest texture. So it's really disorienting, I've always found. To see it look so much already ready to harvest, even though we're still in the final growth state. So it's just something we're gonna have to live with here. But they aren't ready to harvest yet. So this wheat is still got a little bit here to go before we're gonna be ready to harvest it. But we are going to get backed up here. I don't want to hit the guide wire here on the power pole here, or actually it looks like that's a electric cable that's going underground at this point. So I definitely don't want to hit that. And you can see here the liquid fertilizer is currently at 40 kilograms per hectare, and it needs to be up at 200 for wheat in this soil type. So we're definitely going to need to apply a fair amount here. So I'm going to go ahead and get the sprayer turned on here, and we're going to see how this goes. We're going to bring open this mode here a little bit just to make sure that we're applying nitrogen here in the field, and we're seeing a differentiation based on soil type. Now this thing is so wide that at the current zoom level that I have, I can barely get the entire boom in my screen here, but you can see sprayer section control is working as I put my boom off to the side there, and too much of it goes off. So I'm excited about that. And apparently there's no collisions on that outside boom, because I'm pretty sure it just passed through a tree, which is okay. And so we're going to make really short work of this field here at this rate. And having the mini map on is going to help us out a little bit here, because honestly it's just really hard when the crop texture's in this harvesting mode to see how much we've harvested. So we're going to back up here and try not to crash into too many more trees here. It's not the easiest here. Maybe if we actually went in cab, not so much. I hate that when you got the sprayer like this, I can't see the boom through the cab. I don't know if that's a problem with just where the camera is in Farm Sim, or if this is a real life problem with this particular type of sprayer. But I find most sprayers that I've been in, it's just impossible to see the edges of the booms. I don't know how real life drivers are staying off of the fence line. I suppose you've probably got some GPS helping you out there. But I also know a lot of spraying is done custom, and you hire somebody to come out and do that spraying for you. So I'm not sure how they handle those situations in real life. Maybe they have somebody come out with a ATV or something and do a little bit of scouting around the field to help out before the sprayer gets out there. Maybe visibility's better than what I think, or maybe it's this much of a pain and they're experiencing the same thing. Either way, I'm loving the sprayer. I'm loving that we put section control on here. Well worth the time it takes to put that on. I think it probably took me 15-20 minutes to dive into this mod. This has got a lot going on in this mod. This is the Patriot 4440 by Carl Farms released this. And he does some sneaky things when you get the wider boom here. The base boom is fine, but when you extend it from the 120 foot default boom to 132 foot boom, he actually takes one of these sections, in fact this third middle section that you see here in the wing, and he extends it within the game, and so it actually gets wider if you select that option in the store. And so that caused me a little bit of not grief, but I had to kind of figure out what was going on and why I was having my sections be in inappropriate places. And the nozzles, he adds a few extra nozzles when he does that dynamically in the code. And so I had to learn a little bit more about modding here and what's going on in the XML files to make sure we were doing things right. So I'm trying to find the right balance here. Stay in my rows to get the nitrogen into this field. We're going to miss a couple of small bits and pieces here, it looks like. I'm not too worried about it. A couple of rows here or there is not going to make the end of the world when it comes to the yield in this field. And we get a solid 15 miles an hour on this sprayer as well, which is much appreciated. And so just like that, we are all done spraying this little wheat field. It went super fast. So we'll get this folded up, we'll drive it back up to the yard here and get the liquid fertilizer cleaned out and set everything up for spraying some herbicide here. All right, so we're up here in the yard, and we already dumped all of the liquid fertilizer out of this thing. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing swung around and see if we can get some herbicide loaded up in here and go spray some of these fields, at least right up next to the farm right now, I think. We've got a lot of spraying ahead of us, although I was encouraged to see just how far we got, or how quickly we got through that wheat field. With a spraying rig this big, we're gonna be good to go. I was honestly a little bit worried that I should have gotten 2 sprayers for our farm, but having just gone through and sprayed, I mean, admittedly a small field, but I'm encouraged that our sprayer is big enough that it's gonna be able to tackle everything that we need. So we're gonna go ahead and start over here on this small cornfield. I think that we should be able to knock this out in just a couple of passes here. We're going to get the sprayer all unfolded first, though, because I always underestimate the width of the sprayer here, so I'm never quite sure exactly which row to pull in on. Like here, I've gotten way too close. And it's always a little bit hard to tell with the way that everything works out here. In fact, usually I don't like to turn on the lines with GPS. However, I think with this particular sprayer, it might make sense for us to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to make a quick A-B line here just by backing up, of all things. And then I'm going to be able to move this line over here a little bit to get it onto the edge of our cornfield here, just to help me out some. And we should be able to just jump right on out here and get into our spraying now, because we are spraying herbicide. There won't really be much indication that we're actually spraying here, other than some of the weeds dying off. If I look at the map real quick here, you can see we've only really got like 1 splotch of weeds here, a couple splotches over on the other side of the field here, but hopefully this is going to work as a preventative as well. I've had some issues with seasons and herbicide in the past. You just got to make sure that you're getting it at the appropriate ground states. And with this sprayer being just so large, we're really going to get this done in 3 passes, it looks like. And you can just see the difference in the color for the spray with this texture, so it is actually working pretty good here, I think. And you can see that that little pink dot just disappeared as we went over it. So I'm really excited. This seems to be working out really great for us. And I'm always excited to make sure that we've tested our sprayer section control out. And we got a lot of left boom testing in the other field, and as we pulled up onto the curve here, I saw all of the sections on the right boom going off at appropriate times. So I think that we're really good to go here. We're gonna get back out into this part here, the last little bit of this field, and it looks as though we're gonna miss just the smallest strip over there along the trees. I'm not going to turn this thing all the way around for just a few rows here. This thing is way too big to be monkeying around with that. So we're gonna fold this thing up and bring it over to our sunflower field over here and see if we can knock that out equally fast here. Now, one thing that I'm curious about is whether or not we can actually use course play here with this particular sprayer. It should work out fine, but you never know. And so we're gonna give it a shot real quick here, I think, and just see how it works out. It looks like a simple enough course, not that many rounds here. So we're gonna give this a go. First waypoint, yeehaw. And I forgot to turn off the GPS menu here. Let's go ahead and stop this guy real quick here for just a second. We're gonna turn off GPS so that it's not in our face here, and tell this guy to get going again. That's so much better. All right, perfect. So we're gonna let this guy swing around the field here. I'm gonna keep an eye on him and see if we can pull this off with course play. It looks to be working fine, so I'm I'm confident this is going to work out for us here. But as we get into some of these bigger fields here, probably next episode, we're going to want to try that out and just see how it works. I am seeing the spray pattern there on the ground, though, which is good. So this thing's looking good. It's working really good. I'm impressed so far with this mod. So we seem to be going around all these curves and angles without any issues whatsoever. So if anybody's looking for a great sprayer that works good with course play, I strongly recommend Carl Farms' 4440 here, the Patriot sprayer. It's a great mod, and it was relatively straightforward to get sprayer section control going on it here. So if you're looking for some help with that, if you are trying to put sprayer section control on this mod, there were a couple of things that I ran into when I was getting it set up. So feel free to jump on the Discord server, and I'm happy to post a few code snippets on where I ran into some questions when I was setting everything up. However, I think for today, this is going to be a great place to wrap up the episode. I'm going to finish spraying the herbicide here on the sunflowers. In next episode, we're going to get on the road with the spraying setup here and get everything loaded up onto that semi and start going around and knocking out the rest of our fields. We're getting closer and closer to harvest here, so I'm looking forward to that as well. Well, that's all for today. Kedurk